Hello guys, welcome to my front room, and I thought I'd do this on camera, only a little camera in the corner, but you get to look at me, you get to put the face to the voice, which is a change. And I'm doing this massive roundup of the whole year, bit of a big job. I'm splitting the year into 4 categories, 4 groups, Q1, 2, 3 and 4. If you don't work in an office, Q means quarter. So we're going to do January, February, March in the first video, and we're going to look at some of the highlights of my year and some of the games that I enjoyed. And we're going to go through the whole year. We're going to pluck out the best at the end. I'm going to do a Q&A. There's a few questions I've got from the subscribers, and we're going to have a bit of fun with it. So I hope you guys enjoy. So Street Fighter came out in January. Street Fighter was the first, Street Fighter Arcade, came out in January. Now it's the first one on the list because chronologically it came out at the start of the year, but I wanted to include it because they did this really cool thing where they gave anyone who bought Street Fighter 5, not the arcade version, this cool update which allowed us to have all the new characters for the Street Fighter Arcade. And one of the joys of being on camera is that I get to show off some of my fucking hardware, and I brought the Razer arcade stick, which is called the Pantera, something like that, but yeah, whoa, and it's got like a little drug compartment inside, that's not funny, and you can change the top thing with another one, and I'm not, Mr. Arcade Stick, but I really enjoyed this, and I really enjoyed Street Fighter 5, giving us that free update. That game had a lot of problems, and it was really cool to sort of get an apology through free DLC. Pretty wicked. Yeah. So January 26th came up, and my whole world was rocked by the release of Monster Hunter World, pun there. The reason it had such a big impact on me, it comes in stages with me, because it was one of those few games that actually the trailer actually totally delivered on what that game was going to do. And we had a few bad experiences in the industry with trailers and stuff just being shite at the end of the day, and this game had so much to live up to, and the port onto our systems, our current gen systems, alongside its legacy with its previous releases, was a staggering sort of thing to live up to. You know what I mean? It had it all to do. There's such a solid fan base for this game. It's ridiculous how die-hard the fans are for this game. You've got no idea how crazy the threads and the forums are that I'm involved with the whole series, and have been for years. In actual fact, I again can go through some of my geeky hardware. Do you have this big shrine to Monster Hunt? There's also all these. This is a mirror behind me, right? And the mirror is showing my patch big time. Nick, you're gonna love that. Look, you can see the double patch. But they've got all these Monster Hunter figures running across my mirror, but you can't see them, and I can't be asked to move the camera around. Where was I? Hardware. I was geeking out about my Monster Hunter hardware, and let me take the cover off this, because it's a DS. It's a 3D DS, and it's the limited edition Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. It's a 3D DS, and this was my first solid Monster Hunter experience. So from there, I went on to get a Wii U and get the Monster Hunter 3 try on that system. And confessions, I have been playing massively the Switch version of Generations Ultimate, to death, and it was so weird getting this footage for this game tonight. I did it tonight. I was like, I just put Monster Hunter World in, I'm fine. I've put 500 hours into this game. I was like, it will be fine. Any diehard fan is watching this footage now is like, you can't even use the fucking charge blade. Look at the state of you. But wow, it washed over me all over again. Those feelings came back all over again. I was almost sick to the stomach on the day of release of this game. I'd been waiting so long for it, because they announced it at E3, and that was months. It was 6 months ahead of the release date. It must have been mid-year 2017, and it was like, how am I going to fucking wait all this time for a game like this? But it came, it delivered, It's one of the best games I've played this year. It's one of the best Monster Hunters in the whole series. It broke molds, it stuck to its heritage, it did so much more than was expected. The game was an absolute triumph financially. There's a film coming out, we've got the Iceborne DLC that's just been announced. Holy shit, Capcom, you totally delivered. I think there should be more than one warning for epileptics and this video, well, this game, because Dragon Ball, the new Dragon Ball Fighter Z was just half man. It was Bandai Namco. It came from Arc. Arc are the people that make a lot of the Japanese Flare Fighter games, and this one completely rocked my world, because I'm not a fan of the series at all, but I love Flare Fighters, or crazy 2D animated fighters, and this one really surprised me with its accessibility. It was something I introduced to my mates, and it's probably now my go-to 2D fighter game, above stuff like Guilty Gear, and above a lot of the other sort of big name, Blaze Blue, that sort of stuff on the market. So yeah, that came up. That was a release after Monster Hunter World. We're still in January, so we're still at the start of the year, but that one was a real pleasant surprise. Really enjoyed it. So our first release for February was a remake, and it was a remake of the Shadow of the Colossus, which a lot of people say it was the best game on the PlayStation 2 from Team Ico, who did a game called Ico prior to it. There's a huge amount of backstory to this game and what it achieved when it came out originally. But when I say remastered, so this is the first remaster of the year. When I say the word remastered, I mean it in its truest form. They remastered this game to a level that makes it so competitive visually on anything that's out on a current gen system now. So that's a hell of an achievement. So they built it on, I mean, they used exactly the same control method. I don't think it's the same engine. I think they may have built that from the ground up, or they just went through the whole game with a fine-tooth comb and manually upgraded every single graphical element to it. I need to read up more about how they achieved it. They're called Bluepoint, I think, and I have seen some background information on the game and how they achieved it. But Shadow of the Colossus was such a welcome, and again, it was at the same E3 that they introduced the Monster Hunter. Shadow of the Colossus was such a welcome addition to my gaming library. It was you know, when you look at your old console, you might have a console sort of on a shelf or something like that, and you look at it and you think, oh, I wish I could just play X, Y, and Z again, you know, or I wish I could just fire up blah blah blah, stuff like Akami was like that for me, and that was again that was pushed out on the Switch and pushed out on the PlayStation 4. But Shadow of the Colossus was really like that for me. Like, I would have started my PlayStation 2 up to play that game again. I would have done. There was a version of it on the PlayStation 3, I seem to remember, but I never owned a PlayStation 3, so I had to sort of go through that break. The gameplay wise, it's a bit strange, isn't it? I mean, it's taking down 16 bosses, 16 Colossus, and there's nothing really like it out there. It's got a very moody, incredible soundtrack and aesthetic. The palette's awesome. Look at these. There's nothing bright and ridiculous about the game. Of course, a complete contrast to something like Dragon Ball Z with an art style that's made to pop your eyeballs. This one's made to soothe them, and the soundtrack is achieves exactly that. It's tragic, it's heartwarming, it's twisty, it's a great game with its gameplay, i.e. those balance mechanics and that grab mechanic and the personalities of the Colossi themselves, and just how simple a premise it is and how well executed it is was absolutely awesome. And I was desperate to put this on my Q1 Game of 2018 list, even though it's a remaster. So, talking of remasters, It's Burnout Paradise remastered. It's funny that these two are both close together. Chronologically, they're both close together as well. And this one was an Xbox 360 game and a PlayStation, a 7th generation system game. And I just did a 360 of the car here because I wanted to just show you. It's got some of the best crumple and damage mechanics on a car game out there. Look at Gran Turismo and how sterile the bodies are on those cars. I mean, yeah, it's not got the looks, but you smash and clang and scratch and bash your car to shit in this game. Is absolutely awesome. And it also has a very, very good online mode, and it also has an incredible amount of speed in it. The game feels fast, it looks fast, the soundtrack's fast, everything about this game is fast, the menu, everything's snappy and quick. It was awesome. Okay, and that brings us on to, I think we've come into March. We have. This is the first release in March, the last month of the quarter, and it's Ni no Kuni 2. And Michael, I know you're probably sick to the back teeth of hearing about this game. I know a lot of people are, and I'm obsessed with this game far way too much. It's crazy how much I go back to this game. But I think it's because of a couple of things. The content, there's a huge. This game is a 200-hour game, easy. A 200-hour game. It's a Japanese RPG, if you don't know, and it's a sequel to a huge hit that was out on the PlayStation 3. It was a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Just watching this footage now and just seeing how lightning fast it is and how pretty it is, but at the same time how difficult it is. I'm quite high ranked now, and of course the fights at the front end of the game are a bit of a breeze, but now things are starting to. I'm really having to dodge and use a lot of tactics and time my magic, and players die in a match and they don't come back until you win the match, so you're at a blatant disadvantage, like pretty much every other JRPG out there. But Ni no Kuni 2, it really feels like it's been out longer. It's so crazy. It feels like I've had it years. It's like an old friend to me almost. But we've just had some DLC release for it, and very recently announced. The update for that came in a couple of days ago, I think, for me. And this might well make my final list, which will be on the fourth video, Q4's video. Ni no Kuni 2. Love it a bit still. It's lasted me through the whole year and some. Okay, so it's Far Cry 5's turn now, and we're mid-March. We're coming up to the end of March now, and this game is not surprising. It was given a fair amount of good PR. I remember seeing it at a gaming event here in Dubai, actually, before launch. They had a lot of terminals around with it being played, and a lot of the trailers were very early on, and they always do it. I mean, we've already had another Far Cry trailer drop already, I think, haven't we, with the Game of the Year awards, which was like an apocalypse one. If you know me and the channel, I did put out a video about the rankings of all the Far Cry's that are available on the PlayStation 4, and this one is actually done quite well in regards to where it stands against the other ones. It is really crazy. The villains are really good. This game is not to be sniffed at all. It does what it's supposed to, and it's very, very strong on the DLC. None of it was really that great. The Vietnam one was pretty cool. The Mars one was a bit mediocre, but for me the base game is enough. I was satisfied with that enough. I liked where it was set and how it looked. I felt it felt natural. It felt where that it should go next. Ubisoft are always sort of pulling names out of a hat when it comes to locations for their next Far Cry games, but this one was very good for me, and it definitely deserves to get mentioned in some of the best games for the 2018 list. So it's cool. If you've not gone near it, go near it.
For 10,000 years, the Emperor's Inquisition.
I think I've been waiting for 10,000 years for an update of this game to actually get it working properly. I moan about it a lot. It is, of course, Inquisitor Martyr, and I have 2 copies of it because I wanted to I thought that the strengths in this game are really in online multiplayer. I have 2 machines and 2 TVs, so I wanted to get a mate round and sort of test that theory out. And it is a good theory. It does work very well, actually. It is Diablo in space. You know, the game does do what it's trying to do, but I emphasised the word trying. Funny story with this. We're still in March. This was the official release date for this game, so I got a hard copy of this game way before the servers were up and running, and it was so frustrating. I even sent an email to developers saying, not sure how this has happened, but I'm sitting in front of a copy of your game and I can't get into it, and I want to review it, and I want to review it early. Thankfully I did get in, and I did get to review it early. The video got 16,000 views. No, I'm lying, actually. It got about 10,000 views in a couple of days, because I got there first with it, and I actually praised it, and I still do praise it. And there has been a recent patch drop for it in the last couple of days, literally the last couple of days actually, which as you can see has smartened the game up a little bit. I didn't have any jankiness when I played it this time, none at all. But then again, I didn't push it on sort of a heavy sprite count on the levels. I didn't try and bend it at all, but I'm behind this game, you know, in a heterosexual way. I feel it's got something in there that I'm trying to pull out, you know. And I think with time, I just don't want them to forget about it. I don't want them to leave it, and I think it's worth looking at because of its lore, because it's the Warhammer universe. Incidentally, there's Deathwing, which also came out this year. I'm not too sure what month it came out, and Deathwatch. My God. Deathwatch, avoid. One of the worst. It's a turn-based sort of team. It's like Worms is better than this game. But Deathwing's really good. Deathwing's a first-person shooter with Gene Stealers in and stuff. And I've always said I was going to put it on the channel. I never got bloody round to it, actually. And also, whilst I'm boasting, I forgot everyone, to show off my beautiful Monster Hunter World metal case, which I'm very proud of as well. I actually bought 4 copies of Monster Hunter World on launch, so Jesus, yeah, that was fun. I gave Capcom quite a lot of money that day, but it was certainly worth it. So that's it. Q1 is done. We're going to have Q2 coming up. We're going to have all the games that I feel are worth talking about in Q2. Okay, we're going to ramp up to the final 3. I'm going to choose 3 games of the years for each category. I'll go through those in the next video. But keep your eyes peeled. Next video is going to drop pretty soon. I'll keep this format going for the 4 videos for the roundup of the year. And I hope you guys are enjoying Christmas and all that. And see you down there.